The history of work is the story of how societies have structured the labor and activities essential to their survival. Let's consider how the organization of work emerged and evolved from our earliest beginnings. We start in prehistoric communities, where every individual's time and energy went into meeting immediate fundamental needs, gathering plants, hunting animals, caring for children, and constructing basic shelters. Tools were simple, techniques rudimentary, and each member had to contribute. There were no large surpluses, no reserves of resources waiting to be traded. These early groups were typically small, isolated, and focused on survival from one day to the next. Yet even at this stage, certain core principles of organizing work were taking shape. Because the survival of the group depended on collective effort, cooperation was essential. Securing food, often a risky endeavor, required multiple people to plan and execute hunts, distribute what they gathered, and ensure that everyone had enough to eat. This set a precedent for the fair allocation of resources. When it came time to plan these hunts or decide where to settle, some individuals emerged as leaders. These leaders might have been those with better knowledge, skills, or experience in organizing and directing the group's labor. Thus, we see the earliest hints of specialization. Not in the full-time sense we understand today, but in the form of recognized roles, such as a chief hunter or a respected elder whose guidance structured the group's work. Over time, key developments changed how humans worked. Agriculture was among the most significant transformations. Around 10,000 BCE during the Neolithic Revolution, people in the Fertile Crescent, modern-day Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Iran, began cultivating wheat and barley and domesticating animals like sheep and goats. In the Indus Valley, people cultivated lentils and wheat, while in China, rice and millet were domesticated along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers. In Mesoamerica, maize, beans, and squash became staple crops. Unlike the unpredictable yields of hunting and foraging, farming produced a surplus, meaning more food than a group immediately needed. This surplus was a game changer. It allowed individuals to break away from the constant struggle for daily sustenance and focus on other tasks. By around 4000 BCE, in places like Mesopotamia and the Nile Valley, people with steady food supplies could devote themselves entirely to making pottery, spinning textiles, or forging metal tools and weapons. Such early forms of specialization transformed work itself. Instead of everyone doing a bit of everything, distinct crafts emerged, and skill levels rose. This did more than just produce better tools and goods, it laid the groundwork for robust trade. Communities in Mesopotamia, for example, excelled at pottery and exchanged their wares for grain, timber, and metals with neighboring groups. These exchanges spread knowledge, materials, and cultural practices over wider areas, ushering in an era where work was no longer bound by the immediate resources and skills of one's own tribe.